I welcome you to this another session of PHP. We have already learned how to create a PHP file, and we have learned how to display data from PHP code, and we have also learned how to execute a command of PHP instruction, and we are capturing data from an interface. Then it is posted to be viewed or to be processed and viewed using a different uh, page. So today we want to look at how to work with conditions, or what we call condition statements in PHP. We want to look at that, and we are going to create an interface. This interface is going to help us to create an alphabet tester. We want to test whether the entered data is actually a vowel or a consonant. So let's get busy of using PHP. So we shall start with the PHP code. Just like HTML, we have the beginning tag and the ending tag. Okay, so this is the start tag, and then this is the ending tag. We shall look at our PHP, and we shall actually create our PHP code there. But before we look at the PHP code, we shall look at how to design an interface that is going to help us to capture data from an end user. So what we shall need to do is to create an HTML file. Okay, that's enough. And then we close the HTML, and then we enter HTML. If you're not familiar with how HTML works, I would strongly recommend some sites like echo.com or w3schools.com so that you can learn how to work with HTML. HTML is hypertext markup language. So we shall get the title there, and we shall call it alpha test or alpha tester. So alphabet tester. Okay, so we shall look at that, and then we close our title. Then the body, we shall basically need a body there, and we close our body. And then inside the body we shall just create a simple interface that will enable us to capture data here and there. So we shall put it in a tabular format, and we shall get along with that. Close the table there, and then inside the table we shall create two columns. So table row, we'll start our table row, and then we shall create our table data inside the table row, table data, and then we end the table data. That will be the first column, and then we create the second column there, and then we create the second row with the two columns there. So all we need to have is we just need someone to tell someone to be able to enter the first or the alphabet character. So shall type enter character, enter a character. Alright, so looking at that, we shall be able to enter a character, but we shall automatically need an interface on how to enter this character. So if we've saved our changes made to this file, okay, I've created it and I've saved it .php. If you don't know how to save this file, possibly you just need to look at how to save. Click file and then select save as. So no matter how which file that you're using or which editor you're using, please click File and select Save As. Then locate where you want to save your files. In this case, you need to save where you say you installed your server. Locate where you saved your server or you installed your server, and simply click at the file XAMPP. Mine is all on logical drive E, and I click XAMPP, and then in XAMPP locate a file called htdocs. So once you locate htdocs, you'll be able to create a folder there for yourself. And in this case, I'm going to create my folder is already created. Okay, so okay, let's create another folder. In this case, let's just delete this one out. Alright, so create if you're using Windows 10, you just need to click at that button or click at that, create a folder. Once you click at it, you'll be able to create a folder within this htdocs. So the folder is there, and I'm calling it alphabet. Okay, just alphabet, and press enter to confirm to the name alphabet, right? And then click open. Double click to open it so that you're saving in logical drive E. In this case, yours might be logical drive C, so it doesn't matter that much. Click at whichever logical drive that you use to install. Just make sure that you click at this and then select htdocs. Within the htdocs, ensure that you select where you want the project to be. In this case, I want the project to be in alphabet. So type there index and make sure that you put .php. It is not .html because we are not writing an HTML file. We need a PHP code to run within HTML. So as long as you want the PHP code to run within HTML, there you'll have no choice but to make sure that the file that you're saving is having a file extension of .php. So click save, and the file is saved. So you realize that I have saved in alphabet in index.php. All right. So looking at that, if I need to access this file, all I need to do is to go to open any browser of your choice. I'm using Mozilla Firefox, so up there in the URL, you simply type localhost and then slash the folder that you saved your file, your project to. My folder is alphabet, so the spelling is there. So I'll simply select alphabet and then click enter, so that it opens the folder alphabet, and it will tell me enter a character. This is what I entered. All right, so it's going to be arranged in tabular format. You don't see the table there, but if you want to see the table, the structure of the table, we can give our table some borders, and the border will be possibly 1, save changes made, and then refresh. So you'll realize that I basically have a table there that is going to help me arrange my work or my interface. Okay, so within that, the second column there, the second table row, the second table data, I want the interface there. So I want an input type, an input or text box. So type input and then select type. The input type, I want the text, so I'll simply type text. Okay, so that I will be able to capture data. But if I refresh, I save changes made to this file, save. Alternatively, press Ctrl and save, Ctrl S, refresh. You realize that it has put for me my another window, another inbox, so that I can be able to type my text there. Okay, all right. So being that I'm going to have this text once I click the text, I enter the text, I should be able to capture this text so that I pick whatever that I have entered in this text box to be taken for processing in the server. That means I'll give it a name. I'll give it a name. This name will operate like a variable. It will be a variable at the level of HTML. So shall I give it al text, which is alphabet text. Okay, so you can give it any name, and then here I just need to put a button. Okay, a button in this. I'm going to leave this, so a button will be applicable there. So I'll have my input type. The input type is still it is submit, so that we have the button there, and then we shall need the text. Okay, the value will help us to ensure that we have the text on that button, and we shall click verify. Okay, so that once someone clicks at it, it verifies what you have entered there. All right, shall do that and click file, save, not save as, but simply save. So when I refresh, it will give me this verify. Okay, we can as well put another one that will help us to clear whatever that we have entered. So input, the type is clear or reset, and the value we shall say clear entry. Okay, so clear entry will simply clear off what we have there. So when I save changes made, you realize that I'll basically have two buttons. In this case, let me separate these buttons. Save changes made, and then refresh. So the two buttons are kind of separated. So let me get rid of this border so that I have a nice clean. Can set the background, the border to 0, so that we have something neat. All right, there it is. All right, so there we are. We can as well have some text on top, alphabet test or tester. So this alphabet tester, I'm just utilizing HTML codes, so I'll basically have h3, and then I have h3 there. Okay, h3, and then I'll basically also have the line drawn for me. Save changes made to my file, and then up there I refresh so that I have something like that. All right, so enter a character. I'll be able to enter some character there and verify. Okay, so in order for me to verify, I will need this interface to be enclosed in a form. A form is going to help me to submit this content off to the server, and I'll be able to get the feedback back from the server. So I'll have my form surrounding my table, and this is the code for the table, right? So I'll have my form there, and want this form to be able to capture some data using a particular method. So we shall go in for the method. Let us use a post. Okay, let's use this get, and we see the impact. This time around, I'm not going to add anything on action. I don't need anything on action. Action will enable me to call another page, okay, like we did in the first chapter. So I don't need the action. I want the PHP code to run on this this page, the index page, so that it keeps changing according to what I have entered. Okay, so I don't need that, and I'll go to the last point, and I'll ensure that I end my form. Okay, so I've enclosed it, I've embedded it in, and save changes made. There we are, right? So we might not visibly see it now, but it is there. All right, let's now test and see. So if I enter this, I can be able to clear it, which is okay. Application so far is running well, and I want that when I enter something, the system is going to tell me whether I have entered an alphabet or simply a vowel. So that's what we want to verify. Alright, so looking at that, let's have the details, the returning, something that is going to return down there. So it will be still within our form, but it will be executed as long as we click verify. Okay, so if we want to do that, and we have our PHP code there. Okay, so you can place this PHP code wherever you feel like placing it. All right, so I'm placing it in this, but it is outside the form, and it is outside the table. Okay, so I want to verify what we have sent through the HTML form. So what we shall do, let us call this variable the name that we have given this entry. Let us call it, and using a global variable. Remember, we have used the global variable. We are using get method to be able to send data. So we shall use the global variable of get, and get is picking some content from the HTML form, and it is picking it is picking this text input type, alpha text, which is the name given to this. Okay, so we shall enter that alpha al text. Okay, it has to be the same spelling, and we want that this that has been picked from the HTML is stored in a variable of PHP. So this is my data. Okay, and then we store it there. So after storing everything in there, all we need to do is to go to the next line, and then possibly we shall look at how also to comment. Comments are used to make a documentation of what you're writing, or what you want other people to follow in your code. So we shall look at how to use the comments. So you put both slashes, slash, then we say this captures data from the HTML form. Okay, so that whoever wants to upgrade our code can easily know what the code does. So that's the instance of having this kind of comments. You can have this kind of comments, or you can have comment like that. That means this is one line comment, and you can also have another kind of comments using the outline. Having it like that will always have a outline, so you can bring it on a different line like that, so that you utilize this kind of comment, which is commonly used in C++ and C programming and Java. Okay, you can utilize any of that. All right, we shall look at how to use those in under a different chapter. All right, so once you have that in place, all now you need to do is to ensure that you have already captured what we have entered there, and you want to store it in a variable of PHP, which is data, my data, and we want to verify if what you have entered is a character or a number. Is it a character or a number? Okay, so when we talk of a system having a branch, a system, we're creating a system that takes decisions. So let's get to know this kind of decision making in a system and what happens when we talk of decisions. A system, to take a decision, we can take, if something is true, then we shall execute a particular logical statement. But if it is not true, then we take a different logical route or statement. So we shall basically have this. This is what we call a flowchart, and we just need to know how the flowchart operates. It's like a running program, but in a graphical way. So we shall basically have the starting of the program, and that's what we have so far had. And then the program will proceed on. Once it goes to the next level, we shall be able to enter data. Okay, we shall be able to enter this data. Okay, so we shall capture data, enter character. So once we have this enter character, we basically need also to take a decision. We need to check. Okay, we need to check, and shall possibly use a different to check, to verify whether it is that or not. So these are some of the symbols that are normally used. I don't know. So if is character, if it is a character, then what happens? Okay, if it is a character, let's just make it a little wider so that it is on one line. If is a character, okay, if is a character, then shall just need to assemble it there. If it is a character, then what? If yes, it is a character, we shall possibly need to display some content there. If it's a character, then this is if it is true, it is a character, that means we shall need to put some yes there. Okay, if it is yes, it is a character, take off that. If yes, it is a character, then we say you have entered characters. Okay, you have basically entered the characters. But suppose it is not a character. Okay, suppose it is not a character. If no, the logical test is run and it says no, this is not a character, then possibly we shall need to display some other okay, let's just use a different symbol. We shall need, you have entered a number. Okay, you have entered a number. So shall have this, and then shall put it there. So if it is not a character, then if not, okay, so something that we are kind of we're going to create something like this. The program starts, we are forced to enter some content. If is a character, then the program proceeds on and tells us yes, you have entered a character or characters. Then if no, it is not a character, then it will take this branch, it will not take that other branch. So that's what we want to implement. Is it a character or not? So what our system is holding, it is now holding our data in this variable, and we want to test this variable. So we shall use the syntax. Our syntax is if, then the logical test. So if the logical test is true, if it is true, okay, then it will return something. Okay, this is return value when the logical test is true. Okay, so we are looking at this. We are testing the logical test. Once we test and it is true, then the program will execute this part. If it is not true, then it will jump out and continue with the other instructions. So let's put it right now. That is the syntax that we are going to use. Okay, so let us replace the syntax with the actual instruction. So we are testing if my data is equal to, okay, is it equal to an A? So remember, an A, is it equal to an A? If it is equal to an A, then what are we going to display? We are going to echo. Remember, we want to display something. You have entered an A, and we have it like that. So this is what we call a program block. Okay, the program block is normally indicated by the opening curly brace and the ending curly braces. So what you have is what we call a program block. Okay, so if we save changes made, the system is automatically going to give us some output, but we shall explain why it happens like that. So refresh let us save changes made and refresh. So we have this error. It says undefined index alt text. That means this statement means on line 24, when you look at line 24, we basically have this. We are already calling something that we have not yet taken in. Okay, that's why the system is saying we haven't defined anything. But if we take in something like an A and we verify, this is going to disappear, and it tells us you have entered an A. But suppose we enter a B or a C and we verify, it does not reply, it doesn't execute anything, which at times it's going to give us some it's really going to give us some hard time, and it is not even user friendly. Then I want us to look at the URL. When you look at your URL, you realize that there is some data that is taken using the URL, and this is alt text. This alt text, it means that once it is visible up there, you have used a get. Get method is normally used to pass information in the URL to be processed. So this means that the get is not secure. Even if I am to type an A there, you realize that the C is going to be replaced by an A, and you click verify. Oh, there it is, an A. So that means whatever that has been sent using the text box, it is because you have used get, it will go through the URL bar. So what do we do then? We just need to change it to post. So if you're interested in saving or posting your information, sensitive information, don't use the get just use the post. So even when, now that my page is still not loaded, I just need to reload it again. Okay, just make sure that you reload it. So I'm just typing B before it is reloaded. Now it is refreshed. Okay, it has loaded and it has read another instruction, which is a post. So when we post Y again or Z, you realize that time is going to come and this is not visible anymore. So what do I need to do? Make sure that you delete off that and press enter again, so that it comes back refresh, so that when you enter X, you don't actually see anything in the URL, but the system says there is still an error. Okay, on line 24. Now check out this error. We have the post and there we are using get. So we also need to check out for this and we change it to post, because this is the method that we're using to post this information. So when I save changes made, save, and then file, and then select save, and I refresh my page, I realize that okay, right, let me just press it, right. So when I press D, it doesn't return anything because it has checked what do I have. I have D, store D in my data. Is D equivalent to A? It says no. Then that means it will not execute this and it will jump out. So we want it to test and say, okay, it is not, you have not entered an you have not entered an A. So we shall use the else. If you don't do if you don't meet what you need to execute there, then else you'll execute this. So you put the alternative in the else block. So echo you have oops you have uh, entered you have entered something else, not A, not A. Okay, we just want to communicate that to an end user that Mr. If you have entered an A, then you have entered an A. Or Kongs, you have entered an A. Kongs, congratulations, you have entered an A. But if you have not entered an A, you say, oh no, oh no, oh no, you have entered something else, not an A. Okay, you want to make the system say something. So you just need to save and then click refresh. Okay. Okay, let us just change, because since even if we save, but the system is going to read the code. It's okay. So we verify and say, oh no, you have entered something else, not A. If we enter A, it says, oh thanks, you have entered an A. Even if we entered number, it says, oh no, you have entered something else. Okay, so it helps us to remain with the interface, but the system is still going to reject off some data. And even if we entered 5, it says, oh no, we have entered something else. If we enter an A and say, okay, we have entered an A. Suppose we enter something in capitals, or say, oh, we have entered something else. Why? Because we have a small a. Alright, so if it is not an A, you entered possibly something else. So this means that the system is working well, and this is how we look at how to utilize the, just put the code there so that it is visible to all clearly. So this means that we basically have the if, whatever that we are testing has to be written between brackets, and then if it is right, it is true, then it will execute this, the first block. But if it is not, it will execute the alternative, which is in the else statement. Let us now try to work with the embedded, what we call the embedded if. Okay, So you can embed an if within the if statement. So if it is this, if it is an A, okay, if it is an A, or, okay, we are kind of trying to now bring in the logical statements. So or you can, if you are to use or, then we shall use the pipes, the double pipes. It will mean or. Alternatively, you can use the word or. Okay, so or what, or something that is in there. If it is not a capital A, then check if what you have in there is equivalent to a capital A. Okay, so if it is any of those, you can as well output an A. Save changes made, and then if we enter something like Y, Z, and then verify, says oops, you have not entered. If we entered an A capital and verify, it says oh, you have entered an A. Even if it is now small and then you enter, it says congratulations, you have entered an A. So this is because we are bonding two tests. All right, so this time around we want to verify whether you have entered a value which is alphabet or numbers. So guess what we shall write? Just possibly pause this video and think of which kind of code we shall possibly write. If your answer is this, then you are right. So we shall possibly have the if what? If what we have, this holds our data, remember? So if what we have in there is, so we shall use the is. Okay, so we shall utilize some function, the inbuilt functions. If is what? If is numeric, shall use the if is numeric. So if is numeric, if is numeric, this function helps us to verify or to test if something is numeric and it is inbuilt. So if it is numeric, what are we interested in testing? We are testing whether this is numeric, meaning if it carries some numbers there. So put the data inside if is numeric. If it is numeric, and it is true it is numeric, then we display some content. We say if it is numeric, then what? Then we shall enter oops, you have entered number, no numeric values. So there we are. If this that we have is numeric, then we shall display this. Let's check. Save changes made. But if it is not numeric, else, if it is not numeric, then we shall go in for the block of else. Else, if it is not numeric, we shall echo what we have as you have entered oh, I didn't write entered there. You have entered character values. Okay, so this is numeric. Okay, else if it is not numeric, then we have entered character values. Save changes made, and then let us test it is a number, and then click verify. Oops, you have entered numeric values. Suppose it is a character. You have entered character values. Suppose it is this and a number. You have entered character values. Because it does not consider it to be a number, we cannot say it has considered it to be a number. This cannot be a number. This is alphanumeric, which is a character. Okay, but if we enter some figure there, these are numerical values. So realize that we can as well have these characters and numbers embedded together. Okay, we can take decision whether we have numbers or characters. So that way is going to help us to verify whether we have the right decision, whatever that you are taking goes in the right way or not. So that way you can as well have the first one. If it is numeric, okay, it detects that you have entered numeric values, then it will tell you, oops, you have entered numeric values. Okay, else you have entered these are we expect characters to be entered. If we have failed to enter numeric values, then we must have captured characters. Then if you have entered characters, then which kind of character have we entered? Okay, we want to test again. Which kind of character have we entered? So you realize that we are going to take another if, but this time it is inside the else statement. So we shall test again. If what we have, whatever data that we have there, if that data we have entered there, is it equivalent to any of or does it exist in any of these vowels, A, E, A, I, or U? Okay, let's test that. If this is equivalent to, okay, A, that, or, so for O we shall take the O. Let us just take this and then put it there. This is A, O. Okay, let's just take this. Just take the whole of this and that, and R, A, E, then O, U. Okay, so R, A, E, A, and then O, and then U. Okay, we just need to check for that, I or U. Alright, so if it is any of these, then we shall possibly need to echo something. Okay, cons can say, oh my god, oh my god, you entered the character that you entered, the character you entered is a vowel. Let's test our code and see. Save changes, and then let's give it a number. says, oh, unexpected, this on line 31. So on line 31 I have something there, a syntax error. All what? It is not. So we are just getting that off, and then save. We'll refresh the page again. So it enters with nothing, and we enter the value there, and then we enter. So it says you have entered numerical values. So let us enter A, and then enter. It says, oh, you have entered numerical, these are character values. OMG, oh my god, you have your character, oh, the English is weird. Your character you entered, the character that you entered is supposed to be the character you entered. The character you entered is a vowel. Okay, so save changes made, and let us refresh so that we see the changes. Resend. Okay, but we just need to ensure that we separate these. Okay, so there we just need to put some code for break. Okay, and save changes made. When we refresh and resend, so it brings it on a new line. So it says you have entered character values. Okay, and it says the character you entered is a vowel. Okay, so suppose it is now you realize that this time I've narrowed down to smaller characters, and when I change it to capitals, uh, it might it might fail to output the second because it is only looking at the small letters. Okay, so we can possibly need to look out for the uppercase at this level. Can select everything and we convert it to uppercase. Okay, for now let's just keep things simple. So we shall just need to check out for the O, which is small letters, and says okay, let it tell us what we need to know, which kind of letter have we entered. Okay, so you have entered character, then character value O. All right, so instead of having this separated, let us just put what we call a concatenation character. This much we looked at last time, but we say the concatenation character is this character that enables you to blend two or more into one. Okay, so in such a case, when you have this, when you want to have character values, you can have these. Okay, and then we enclose it like that. Alright, so we want to have this value that we have entered, this my data, copy, and I put it there so that it blends the two. Alright, so the statement will say, will read as you have entered character value. Okay, character value, and then it tells me the character, then it goes on to tell me the character belongs to, okay, the character you entered is a vowel. Right, so if we enter this again, it says, oh, you have entered the character A. Okay, you can as well put something to emphasize it. You can put some bold, okay, at that level, and even there you can put some big bit of bold. Save changes made and refresh so that we basically have the character really pushed out. So even if we are to say I, and you say verify, tells you it belongs to value, but if we are entering M, then it does not belong to this value. Okay, so if we want to have the same statement, and we say the character that you entered belongs to a consonant group. Okay, so we shall put the if that is within the else, if within the else statement, which is what we call the nested if. So when you look at this if, and we say, okay, after the if statement, the inner if, or what we call the embedded if, we look at the else again. Okay, so can have that kind of method, and then we say, we echo it there, and we say the value, the character you entered is a consonant. Or it is not a vowel. Okay, right. So if we enter V and we verify, you say it's a consonant. When we enter a U, it says it's a vowel. All right. When we enter A5, it says this is a number. Okay, you have entered a numerical value. So realize that the system is going to keep on adjusting. We have that kind of statement, and this is using the if then else statement. Then we have also used the if else if. Okay, so we have the if, and it will end there. Then we shall go in for the else. That else ends there, but within the else statement we have the if that ends there, and then still we have the else that ends there. So if else within if else. Okay, it's kind of interesting. So we can also have another version of changing, so that we have the if else if. Okay, so we basically need to know the if. We say if, and then we have the logical test there. So we have the logical test and the block goes there, and this one will return. Okay, it will return some value, return a value if the logical test is true. All right, so this is the syntax. And then we have also looked at what we call the else. Okay, so this is the simplest that we can have. The else, this one, for it we do not test, it is the alternative. And with the else statement, what we do is we return a value if the logical test is false. Okay, that is the if else. Then we have seen the if else, and then we have the embedded if else. So we basically have this statement within this statement. It's weird. So, but it's interesting. We have this, and it will return some value. So this one is kind of pushed in, it's embedded. Right? So this time around we want to look at something called the if else if, and then else if. So you're testing again, as long as the value, we have another logical test running. So if else if, again you test again, and then you end up having the other alternative as the last resort. Okay, so basically logical test 2, this is logical test 1. Okay, So what it means is that we basically test the first value. If the first value is not true, then it will go for the else and then tests the second value. If it is true, then it will execute the value of truth there of logical test 2. So this one will be for the logical test 1. Okay, so if this fails, still it will go and test again. If it fails, then it will simply execute the alternative. This is the last to be the last to execute. When everything has failed, it will automatically go in for the last. So let's convert the code that we have to suit that. Right, so we have the else, but this else we realize that it will we shall just create this to have this else statement. So we shall say, okay, we want to check again, and there we shall post our code. Else if this, we have entered something. Okay, if we have entered anything that is related to these characters, then it will have to capture this kind of language. So when we have the else if, it will check the numerical values. If there is R, A, or U, and then it will execute this. You have entered character value, then it will tell us the character value, and then it will have to tell us it is a value of a consonant, a value of a vowel, and if it is not belonging to I, A, O, then we shall say it belongs to this. Okay, so when we save changes made and we say okay, number 5, it says unexpected. So I've so far deleted one, but I have not deleted the last. Okay, so the last will the one that I took off will be displaced off by 1. Alright, so when I refresh that, it says oops, you have entered a number. And when I press enter 8 again, it says it's a number. And I press L, it says oh, it's a consonant. When I press U-O, it says it's a vowel. When I say A, press enter, it is a vowel. When I press E, enter, it is a vowel. When I press B, it's a consonant. Okay, so the system kind of changes according, or it takes decisions according to what you have given it. So this is the way we can take decisions, whether to take the if or else. Alternatively, we can as well take the if else, if else. Then you can also have the if else if. Right, so there is that there is that relationship that we need to look at always to appreciate the way the logical statements operate on this kind of data. Otherwise you might be able to build a site that is going to change according to the type of customer who has visited your site. Is he simply a guest? If he's a guest, there are things that he is not supposed to view or see. Is he a member? If he's a subscribed member, that means he has rights to additional services over the site. Until next time, we shall look at how to use the switch and then other types of conditions. Till next time, stay safe. May God bless you. Thank you.